That sound, that alert. It just landed. 1 minute ago. Main words that change everything for a city, 9 districts on alert. London braces for shutdown. This is not a test. This is the live, unfolding reality for millions, right now. The greatest city in the world, and the complex, fragile web that holds it together is under a threat severe enough to warrant that phrase. Shutdown. What does that even look like? And how did we get here with just minutes to react? Let's look at the map. 9 districts. Now random boroughs. Strategic targets. Westminster. A brain of government. A city in Canary Wharf. The financial heart, pumping billions by the second. Hannon, Islington, Hackney, Tower Hamlets, Lambeth, Southwark. The vital ordnance transport hubs, major hospitals, critical infrastructure, dense residential zones. When these 9 light up simultaneously, it's not an isolated incident. It's a systemic threat. I've read under attack. This is a containment protocol. They are drawing a ring around a crisis that is already in motion. So what's inside the ring? Is it a confirmed credible security threat? A hostile actor? Or has a different kind of failure begun? A catastrophic transport network collapse, perhaps? A power grid failure spreading from a single point? A severe cyber attack on traffic management or 2 signaling systems? The alert is deliberately vague to prevent panic, but that vagueness is the source of panic. The mind races to the worst possible scenario. Now witness the domino effect in real time. It starts in the control rooms. Transport for London's headquarters. The Metropolitan Police's Operations Centre. Surreal's flash red. Decisions made in seconds have consequences for hours. Do they stop the trains? A full tube suspension is the fastest way to strand millions. Do they close the bridges? Waterloo, London Tower Bridge, that severs the city north from south, creating instant gridlock so profound it becomes a security issue itself. It hits the streets. That buzz you feel isn't electricity, it's human anxiety transmitting from person to person. The commuter at Liverpool Street, phone held high, searching for a signal, face lit by the glow of a departure board screaming cancelled. The parent in a supermarket in Islington, grip tightening on the trolley, calculating how to get their kids home if the buses stop. A pub in Cannon where the football match on TV is forgotten, every eye on one phone screen behind the bar. This is the moment London fractures. It stops being one city and becomes 9 million individual calculations of survival. Do I run? Do I hide? Do I stay put? The social contract to trust that the system will function is being stress tested live on air. And in this chaos, there are those who run towards it. The blue light frontline. For the police, their role transforms instantly. From community officers to a rapid deployment force. Their focus splits, securing the cordons around the 9 districts, protecting critical sites, Parliament, the Bank of England, major stations, while also dealing with the public fallout of the shutdown itself. Fights at bus stops. Stranded vulnerable people. Rumours spreading faster than they can contain them. For the London Ambulance Service and the NES, it's a logistical nightmare. Hospitals inside the alert zone go into lock and lockdown. No one leaves, only emergencies enter. But what about the patient needing dialysis in Peckham? The woman in labor trying to get to St. Thomas? Ambulances become trapped in the traffic that is now congealing like blood in a clot. They are forced into terrible tragedy not of medical need, but of geography. For the London Fire Brigade, the threat is multiplied. A major fire in an alert district now becomes a compound disaster. Access is blocked. Water pressure might be affected if the crisis is infrastructure related. They are planning for disasters on top of a disaster. But what if the threat isn't on the streets? What if it's in the wires? The most likely trigger for a multi-district shutdown in the century is invisible. A cyber attack. Imagine a coordinated strike on full signaling system. One hacker, thousands of miles away, could send trains conflicting commands, forcing a total network freeze to prevent catastrophe. Or an attack on the power grid SCADA systems, causing rolling blackouts across entire boroughs. Or a ransomware attack on the Met's own communication, blinding them at the moment they need vision most. This is the silent war. And in the bunkers deep under Whitehall, the National Cyber Security Center next in cover or in session. Their battle is fought with lines of code and emergency patches. Their enemy isn't a person with a weapon, but a worm in the system. Their first weapon. Shutting things down. A brutal, but sometimes necessary defense. Turning London off to save it. This alert could be the first public symptom of a digital siege that started days ago. Strip away the technology, the infrastructure, the official response, and you are left with the human animal in a state of shock. This is when rumor becomes more powerful than fact. A video of a police van speeding becomes a terrorist raid. A power flicker and so becomes a grid collapse across the West End. Social media amplifies every fear, every scrap of misinformation, until the digital noise is deafening. But this is also when London's resilience flickers to life. It won't be on the news. It's the shopkeeper in Bethnal Green who lets people use his loo and charge their phones. The Uber driver who, instead of surging his prices, helps an elderly couple get home for a normal fare. The network of community WhatsApp groups that springs up, spare room in Bow if stranded, walking group from King's Cross to Finchley. In the absence of a functioning system, an organic, human one begins to form. It's messy, fragile, but it is the true antibody against chaos. As night falls over the alert zone, a new phase begins. A long night. For those stranded in offices, it's an uncomfortable campout. For those locked down at home, it's a tense vigil by the radio. For the authorities, it's a race against time to find the source, to neutralize the threat, to restore some semblance of order before dawn brings a new wave of panic. Hotels fill up. Petrol stations run dry at the periphery. The city's nocturnal economy, the cleaners, the bakers, the delivery drivers, is paralyzed. And through it all, the unanswered question hangs in the dark air, heavier than the pollution. Why? Was it a deliberate, malicious act? A tragic accident? A stress test of systems that finally failed? The why will define what comes next. It will define the political fallout, the public inquiry, the very soul of this city. Dawn will break. The alert eventually will stand down. The bridges will reopen. The tubes will run tentatively. But London will be changed. A scare on its confidence. A before and an after. We will learn what broke and who fixed it. We will learn what we are capable of both in terms of failure and in terms of endurance. The phrase braces for shutdown is the sound of a city holding its breath. This is the story of what happens in that breath. And what happens when it finally has to let it out.